Welcome to this Roll for Crit preview, and today we're glad you're gathering around these digital bards here as we show off the tale of Taelmoor. In this game, you'll be using your smartphone to scan items, rooms, doors, and NPCs in order to move your heroes forward throughout the story and find out what's in store for them.
That's right. It is a cooperative narrative app-based game wherein you are all a party traversing through some kind of a dungeon or whatever the scenario in the app might put forth to you. Right here we have what is basically the setup of the tutorial for the beta mode of Taelmoor that we have access to. This has a few tiles out already, but when you start the game, you'll probably just start with one, and then as you traverse and explore, you'll be uncovering doors that lead to new rooms, and you'll be finding characters and items. And as you can see, almost everything has one of these QR codes on it somewhere so that you can scan it using the app. So the way it's going to work, each player is going to have their own unique character that'll have some kind of ability, perhaps an item that they get to take at the start. On your turn, the app will tell you, hey, it's your turn. And you could do this with just one phone sharing it, or everybody could be connected on the same room via the internet, the magic of the internet. So you don't even need to pass a phone around in that case. And on your turn, you're going to have a few different options of actions you can take. This is not representative of a final version of the app. There are probably going to be updates. It'll look a little bit prettier, but there's a bunch of text showing you what's going on, whose turn it is, and at the bottom, all your options for what you might want to do. One of the first actions you might want to take is to inspect. So you will take your phone and point it using the QR code reader at anything that you want to get more information about, learn more about it. Then once you have done so, you might also want to interact specifically with something. So for instance, maybe you want to try to open this door here, or if it's a person, a character, you want to talk to them, ask them a question about something. You might also be able to ask them about, say, a specific room or item, something else that you can scan, that you can see, that you want information on. You can also move your party. Everybody moves together. You'll have one pawn that represents all of you, and you can move pretty much to anywhere that you have discovered so far. You don't have to move through one thing at a time, although depending on the scenario, there could be roadblocks of different kinds along the way. And of course, you can use your items. You'll be discovering items as you go. So just as an example, let's say I'm going to choose the use item function, and you'll see this comes up, which is telling me it's looking for some kind of QR code to scan. And I'm going to, oh, it already is scanning other things quickly. Go over, there it is. It picks it up immediately. And then I'm going to try to use it on this door. Again, it picked it up very quickly. I'm going to say confirm. Depending on what you did, if your action was successful or not successful, the app is going to give you some text, tell you what happens. A lot of times it might tell you to put new pieces into play, new map pieces or figures, or even to move your own figures. It'll depend on what happened. And usually you'll get to do one or two things on your turn. It kind of depends on what those actions are if you've tried them before. And then it will automatically go to the next player and they will get the chance to do something. So everyone is operating independently, but you're able to see everything throughout the app if you're all in the same network together. And of course, everything is open. You can discuss exactly what everyone should be doing on anyone's given turn.
Now, as we said, there are these fun little NPCs you'll come across. There are many different standees. Some of them will be your friends, some of them not so much. You may enter combat with some of these people. This is all going to be done through the app or the web page. And what's going to happen is monsters or enemies will spawn in different positions, as well as the heroes. That's important because you will have this deck of cards. You will start by drawing 5, and you start off with basic cards with basic abilities, such as things like this that will either block and give you more armor, attacking that does more damage, or even things with special abilities, such as maybe causing poison or even attracting the attention of the enemy. It's for whatever your class is able to do. If it does damage, it'll tell you there. If it gives you armor, it'll tell you there. Now, there's a speed value telling you how quickly it will move. So you may want to discuss all right, I can give everyone a bonus damage buff, but try to go below this number. And finally, of course, there's target. There's different kinds of targets, whether it's yourself, an enemy in a specific position, maybe an enemy with the most health, or there are some that are even random, so wild card. So you'll want to be careful and try to plan with everyone what you're going to do. Now, this will go back and forth until the combat ends. Now, if you are defeated, you're actually allowed to go back and take the previous actions so you can make sure you actually complete this. The game wants you to go and progress through the story. It's not going to punish you for taking maybe the less optimal moves. Now, when you do defeat enemies, you'll probably level up. What that entails is taking one of your advanced cards, the entire party, regardless of whether you fainted or not, and you can swap one of these advanced cards out for one of your basic cards. So you'll still keep the 10 cards nice and lean, but you're going to have much stronger abilities. This, of course, once again, will play on your classes. So if you're the magic users, you're probably going to get much stronger, more potent spells. If you're one of the more physical users, you're probably hitting harder. The game will continue until you completed whatever the objective of the story is, whether it is defeating that final boss, maybe reaching a final room where there's a puzzle where you need to solve involving probably collecting some of the items you found along the way. This is all about going through the story, and as we stated earlier, it will not punish you, for example, if you did not choose a wizard. Maybe you decide to go barbarian and dwarf. It always will make sure that whatever required special abilities are needed for the puzzles will be in the game.
Yeah, I guess that's maybe something that we didn't, won't be clear to people just from our explanation of as to exactly what the gameplay loop is going to be like minute to minute. And I think when you're not doing combat, a large part of it really is puzzle solving. Almost from what we experienced, and of course, different scenarios and stuff they add could go in all kinds of directions because it's a pretty open system, I think. Was almost like a little mini escape room in every room that you were in of trying to figure out probably there's a locked door. How do we open it? How do we find the key? Maybe you can inspect the room or an item. Or for example, there's this item that the wizard has right now, which allows you to search for hidden things. So if you use it in the right place, you might discover something that's very important to you. Or there might be riddles or puzzles, very, Dungeons and Dragons, Zelda kind of esque sort of fantasy style puzzles. And that's a lot of what you're going to be like. Your team is working together trying to solve those.
Now, the other big important thing is there are some items that anyone could use that you may come across, like your classic 50 foot of rope or something. But you like that key, only the wizard or whoever is given that at the beginning will have access to that. So you're going to have to actually work together. You can't just alpha game your way through. May have to pass a turn because this is not something I can do. Mm-hmm. So it's all about trying to find everything that's involved in the room as well as trying to work your way through it, and not in a as punishing way as we've seen in some other games like this.
Yeah, that's what this also this party inventory card is for when you find items, you can keep them there. So there are some things that everybody kind of can work together and have access to. And and the other thing I like about the combat is it keeps that same spirit in mind of working together in that you all have your own cards and abilities, and they will activate in a certain order based on the speed, as we said. But you're not taking turns in playing them. You all can be like, oh, here, I'm going to use this firestorm or whatever, and someone else will say, oh, that goes great with this. Well, hold on, like don't scan anything yet. You might like hold back and do something else. And I think it has a fun feel to it that feels definitely a little more inviting, more engaging than, again, like a typical role-playing turn-based, like, all right, it's just my turn, I'm doing my thing, now it's your turn.
Well, the big thing is, I think, it's because they take advantage of the app for this. You see enemies with health bars, and there isn't that, all right, you take 6 damage, count down, minus, write down, or when you're taking, because you all choose simultaneously, the app just goes, all right, boom, 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 boom. And you see all these cute little effects on screen. I'm sure there could be more depending on the final production. And you'll be able to really I think it makes the combat rounds quicker. So there's less of that waiting for your turn and more of just only this is what I want to do. So I feel like that helps out a lot in this effect. So you can really focus more on the teamwork aspect maybe than instead of just, all right, where is everything now that it's my turn?
Yeah, the app is obviously huge for this game. It's all really focused on that. And you can see, like I said, we're just using a beta version of it, but it's very responsive. It scanned everything pretty quickly, and it keeps track of everything that's going on. It knows where you've been, which items that you've been looking at, and all that kind of stuff. And, your own special abilities that you have, whatever you have access to. So if you like app integration in games, this is definitely taking that into a new direction, putting it in a different spin on it, a different genre that I don't think we've quite seen that working in yet in games. I've enjoyed the QR code stuff in the past. It's something that I like. Everybody feels differently, but in this game, I think the app at least is executed and functions the way it's supposed to. Certainly, again, from a beta mode, I'm sure they're going to refine and polish it. And also, some of this stuff, like the art on these cards, is not totally final. So keep that in mind. If you look at the final Kickstarter page, you'll hopefully get a better idea of what the final product is going to look like.
But that is the game. It's whether you want one phone or everyone has their own phone so you can read out when it's your turn. It's really about progressing through the story and taking advantage of what an app can do.
We will have a link to the Taelmoor Kickstarter in the description down below, so you can take a look for yourself and decide if you want to back it. And let us know in those comments, like we said, what your thoughts are. My name is Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this was Roll for Crit.
You have reached the end of the video, but before you go, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and maybe try to help us out on Patreon if you can. If you want to hear more from us, we've also got a podcast. This is released weekly, and there'll be links down below for wherever you want to listen to podcasts.